Hey, partner. How's it going? Oh, me? I'm just sitting here feeling pissed off. I spent an hour making this video already, and I decided to use a microphone thinking it would be helpful. For whatever reason, that backfired on me, and when I went to edit the video, I could barely hear a word I was saying. So I decided to skip the microphone, just use my loud ass voice, and we'll get through this. It's only take 2, but it feels like take 2,000 because that's a long time to talk and talk and talk and listen back and barely hear a freaking word. So, but I am going to be zen. I'm going to just accept the fact that this has happened. My voice is already being like compromised from talking so much, but it's okay. Determination is my superpower, and I am determined to make this happen one way or another. So let's get into it. It's a good thing I have my world famous peanut butter, banana, cocoa almond smoothie to get me through these difficult times. Okay, so hello, welcome back to Coffee, Create, Connect, the channel where we uplift, inspire, and support each other, motivate each other, encourage each other, all the things. In today's video, I will be reviewing for the second time the book called Creative Writer's Notebook. 20 great authors and 70 writing exercises. So there's a bunch of people that have contributed. I'm not going to read them all. You can look them up yourself if you're interested. So I'm kind of considering this like a little series where I read from and review books so you can decide whether you want to pass or purchase. I personally would recommend purchasing this one. I am very glad that I did. I got it for a bargain at only $9 at Barnes & Noble. Remember, there are 70. I'm going to read no more than 7. So if you like the prompts that I read to you, I would definitely recommend checking the book out. There are so many amazing, unique, inspiring ideas. And I really enjoy that they leave space for you to write. So they give you a prompt, then you have space to write. We also have nice chunks of text from other, authors from the past. So we have some text down here. We have who the person is, the day they were born, the day they passed, if they have passed, what kind of writing they did, some quotes from them, some advice, and a couple of pictures. So one on each page. Okay, so that being said, let me get into it. So one exercise that I enjoy in here is called Family Members. However, you can use this exercise with basically anyone. So it says, pick members of your family or whoever and write description of them using their age as your word count. So in example, Nana, 71, would get 71 words. Dad, 48, gets 48 words to describe his character. Your niece, 5, gets 5 words. Could you think of a single word to describe your 1-year-old nephew? Mix up the descriptions so that your paragraph has varying sentence lengths. Mixing up short and long sentences helps to structure prose and varies the pace of your writing. So shorter, clippier sentences have a more fast-paced feel, feels a little more urgent. And longer sentences kind of takes the reader into a slower, kind of like slow down and pay attention mode. So they both are very useful, but it's generally a good idea to mix it up. So it's not just nothing but short sentences and it's not just long sentences over and over. I think this is a fun way to get you to practice playing around with different sentence lengths and structure. So we have the Virginia Woolf section here. So it tells you when she was born, when she passed, what she did for her writing, and key words. So a quote from her says, "Going at such a pace as I do, I must make the most direct shots at my object, with no more pause than is needed to put my pen in the ink." So one thing they touch on is Orlando. So Woolf's groundbreaking novel, Orlando, 1928, a mix of satire, historical biography, and exploration of gender roles. Orlando is a young nobleman in Elizabethan England. At the age of 30, he falls asleep for a week. When he awakes, he has find that he has metamorphs into a woman, yet his mind and personality remain the same. Woolf again experiments with the narrator. While Orlando, living in a different age and gender, appears unconcerned, the narrator is disturbed. Woolf's language is intensely lyrical. She creates a world full of auditory and visual impressions. How fresh, how calm. Stiller than this, of course, the air was in the early morning, like the flap of a wave, the kiss of a wave. Chill and sharp, yet for a girl at 18, as I was, solemn. The reader feels what the character is experiencing. The words flap and kiss give the sound and the touch of air, comparing it to our imagination with a wave. She wrote, "Yet it is true, poetry is delicious. The best prose is that which is most full of poetry." Now, some people would argue that because, not everyone enjoys purple prose. I do, depending on what I'm reading, and especially in poetry. But I do agree that poetry brings something unique that other types of writing, and each type of writing has its own gift to give to the world, but there is something extraordinary about poetry in my own opinion. And yes, I have written poems, and if you would like me to share some of those on here, let me know. I'm not totally sure how I feel about that, but I can pull through just about anything. Determination is my superpower. So one of the exercises in the book, so this is exercise number 2, is write a short piece inspired by a pair of shoes you remember from your childhood. So if you don't have a pair of shoes that stand out in any significant way from your childhood, choose a different object, or just make up a story about a child who has some kind of a story about shoes. I have these particular shoes right here, these gold glittery strappy sandals. I don't wear those very often. I wear them generally only for photo shoots because I like to do photography, self-portraits, and other types. But I can make up an entire story based off of those shoes. I can make an entire story up about the woman who does wear those shoes on a regular basis, or who stole those shoes from a queen, or found them in the forest and it turns out they're enchanted. There are so many things. I know shoes can be like, what am I going to write about shoes? If you're creative, innovative, open-minded, resourceful, you can write about just about anything. So you can see how that one object can kind of set a domino effect of ideas going if you're not quick to write things off. So we have a section here on Flannery O'Connor. It says, O'Connor infuses her writing with comedy too. In A Good Man is Hard to Find, she describes the grandmother's choice of clothing for a car journey. At her neckline, and this is quoted, at her neckline, she had pinned a purple spray of cloth violets containing a sachet. In case of an accident, anyone seeing her dead on the highway would know at once that she was a lady. Now that tells you a lot about this character without telling you almost anything. But we know if she's worried about what someone will think of her, being, making sure that she's considered a lady, even in death, that tells you a lot about a person. I would only want to make sure that my sunglasses go with me. Or as Barrett, if you're watching, as my sunnies would go with me. So she says, the ongoing humor is set against a shocking conclusion, end quote. The ongoing humor is against a shocking conclusion when the grandmother shows kindness to an escaped convict. Why, you're one of my babies. You're one of my own children. She reached out and touched him on the shoulder. The misfit sprang back as if a snake had bitten him and shot her 3 times through the chest. Okay. I was not expecting that. I think I need a minute. Wow. Okay. Well, and that's what I mean. That was very little writing in both of these examples. That was such little writing, but it told so much. So Flannery O'Connor says, anybody who has survived their childhood has enough information about life to last for the rest of their days. And I agree. If you have made it to adulthood, you have lots of memories, you've seen lots of things, you have lots of ideas, fantasies, desires, whatever, maybe things you've seen on TV or movies, things you've read about, things you've seen other people achieve or do or experience. So there's plenty up here and in here to draw from, to be creative, whether it's writing, whether it's painting, whether it's creating a dance, whatever it may be. So this was one of the exercises in this book that when I read the example, I'm not even kidding you, like I almost cried the first time. And even now reading it back to you, it's like it really just it really gets you right in the feels. So it's a 6-word story, which I know one time on Facebook there was a page or a group, and basically I think it was 6 words. You were kind of expected to make a story out of only 6 words. And I remember at first thinking, how does somebody make a story out of only 6 words? But this is a perfect example of saying so much in only 6 words. So exercise 3, while sitting around a table with other writers, Ernest Hemingway was challenged as part of a bet to write a 6-word novel. He came up with For Sale, Baby Shoes, Never Worn. He won the bet. I mean, in 6 words, it tells you that someone had a baby, the baby, for whatever reason, didn't survive, and now they're getting rid of the shoes. Write your own 6-word story. The story needs to project a backstory and perhaps a future story. In Baby Shoes, we can see a past, a baby's death, and we see a present, selling the shoes either due to hardship or foreclosure. So, Ernest Hemingway, we have here. I love this part where he says, I learned not to think about anything that I was writing from the time I stopped writing until I started again the next day. That way, my subconscious would be working on it, and at the same time, I would be listening to other people and noticing everything. So I love that he talks about that. Number 1, yes, sometimes the best thing you can do for your story is to walk away from it and focus on something else. In the meantime, your subconscious will be working things out. I am working on a novel that I haven't touched in a while because I've been determined to get my nonfiction books together, all set, out in the world, then I can fully focus back on the novel. But I had come to a point where it was flowing and flowing and flowing, and I couldn't believe how easy that it was to write until I got to this like brick wall that I could not seem to get around, over, under, through. And at that point, I had to step away, which is why I started to work on my fiction books again. I'm like, my nonfiction. I'm like, let me just step away, not force the issue. Sometimes the harder you try to grasp onto something, the more it is likely to slip out of your hand, like a bar of slippery soap. The harder you hold on to it, the more likely it is to go flying out of your hand. So in my case, I took a step back for a couple of months, or a few months even now, and just put that to the side. Didn't think about it, didn't work on it. Then one day out of nowhere, I had this idea about part of the book where the main character steals her aunt's journal. And something in that journal reveals a deep, dark secret that the main character has been unaware of up until this moment. And it's a pretty big plot twist. Now, I don't think I would have thought of this if I had just sat there like forcing the issue. So sometimes it is the best thing. Take a step back. I totally agree. Your subconscious may just pipe up one day out of the blue like mine did. Just was like, hey, you know that idea that you were kind of working on in the novel that is interesting but could be a lot more interesting? I have just the thing. So don't be afraid to take a step back. Don't forget that we have life outside of our creative projects, and it's important to pay attention to the people and things around us and not be so in our minds that when someone's talking, we're too busy thinking about our project that we're not really listening. Number one, it's rude. No one likes that. You wouldn't like it if you were talking to me and I was in my head thinking about my project. And beyond that, though, you could be missing very interesting little tidbits of conversation or something that someone might have heard that day that is the perfect quote for your book or whatever it may be. So conversation and observation are two really important things to help your creativity, not to mention to nurture your life outside of your creative pursuits. So here's an exercise, Hemingway's iceberg. Start by writing a detailed character profile in the section of the opposite page below the waterline entitled Submerged Iceberg. So we have this page right here with these kind of like this squiggly line represents the ocean and the part of the iceberg that is submerged that we don't see. So basically, this is the part of a person that you see. This is the part they show to the world. This is the part that can be learned about. This is the other stuff, the stuff people don't show other people, the stuff that sometimes they don't even want to acknowledge about themselves. Everyone is like an iceberg. We all have parts that we show and parts we acknowledge and then parts we don't. Some people refer to this as the shadow self, so on and so on. I like the idea that they have created the exercise this way. So it says, you might imagine you are at a dinner party and describing the person sitting opposite you, me, or maybe choose a family member, friend, or someone else you know. Once you have written the detailed profile, try to convey the same key observations, character traits, and backstory in only a couple of lines, enough to achieve the same sentiment, if not more, in the exposed iceberg space. So you can write plenty down here, and they just want you to write a little bit about what you can observe, what you can hear right here. And this is what you feel about the person. This is the energy, the vibes you pick up on. Or things you may have noticed that they may not want you to have noticed. So there's a section on Georges Perec. And a quote from him is, what we need to question is bricks, concrete, glass, our table manners, our utensils, our tools, the way we spend our time, our rhythms. To question that which seems to have ceased forever to astonish us. Now, I love that. What I love about that is it's true. We have taken for granted so many things around us because they've become so everyday and ordinary. But the sun is everyday and ordinary in that way, right? Because it's everyday, a lot of us have ceased to be amazed by the fact there's a huge ball of fire in the middle of the sky that is keeping us warm. Lots of things. Water. We take a shower. We don't really think about how water's formed or what a miracle it is that with all these planets around us without water, maybe gas, maybe ice, but not actual liquid water, what a miracle it is that we have oceans of it and that we can just turn a switch, turn a knob and get water to come out. So I love that it kind of reminds you to take wonderment in your everyday situations and your everyday surroundings. So I think this is a great exercise, not only for your writing or creative projects, but for life in general, to look around and find something that you think of as ordinary and make some kind of a story out of it. Try to look at what a miracle it really is, how unique or cool or interesting or just miraculous it is, and write a story about it. It can be done as science fiction. It can be done as romance. Maybe you'll be writing about how the softness of the rose petals and the scent and the beauty of them is so romantic and sensual. You could write about literally anything, but I would love to, if you do this exercise or any of the exercises here, I would love to see what you came up with. So if you want to drop it in the comments or make a video and drop the link in the comments, please do. Would love to check out what you've come up with. Maya Angelou, who in my opinion was one of the greatest writers, speakers, people ever. So her quote is, "Words mean more than what is set down on paper. It takes the human voice to infuse them with shades of deeper meaning," like we were just talking about. On language, she says, "I love it for what it does for us, how it allows us to explain the pain and the glory, the nuances and the delicacies of our existence." She says so much with saying so little. It's so impactful. I tend to be long-winded. Maybe one day I'll be more concise like she tends to be and really just kind of get to the point. But I love the way she explains that. So the last exercise is called Chakov's gun. If you say in the first chapter, there is a rifle hanging on the wall, in the second or third chapter, it absolutely must go off. I don't know that I agree that it must go off, but it must be part of the story. There's no point in mentioning, say, a rifle on the wall if it's going to play no part in the story. It definitely needs to come back up. This is why my own novel, I realized I had mentioned the main character stealing the aunt's diary, and then I didn't really bring it back up through the story. So I'm glad that I was able to take a step back, give myself a break from that novel, because it occurred to me, wait a minute, that's a great opportunity for a plot twist, like something she's read in the novel. So that's foreshadowing. It's like she stole the novel, so now the reader is going to be expecting that something in that novel is going to be important enough to come back up in the story. So this basically is just referring to foreshadowing. As well as the rule to ward off red herrings, Chakov's gun rule, when employed effectively, can create a foreshadowing, giving the reader an idea of what will happen in advance. Subtle associations can add texture in writing. So the exercise is, firstly, describe a major event that is going to occur in a story you may be planning or have already written. Otherwise, imagine an event that may occur within a story. Then associate an image with this event. An obvious example is a shooting. For example, a peanut-sized hole on the front of a man's t-shirt. Then write the scenario in which this associated image is contained. Finally, write the sentence, paragraph, or dialogue containing this scenario to create a foreshadowing of events. So, and then they give you the different sections where you can write out the main event, the associated image, so the association of the image, so what do you associate with that image, the association scenario, and the foreshadowing. So I really love the way they've laid that out. I think it's excellent. And that is it. I think I've read enough of this for you to know. Do you want to purchase or pass on the Creative Writer's Notebook, 20 Great Authors and 70 Writing Exercises? So I finally did it. It only took me my entire day, but I have finally managed to make this video. And for those of you who stuck around till the end, I'm going to pull some Oracle cards. The first card says, don't take it personally. And it's got like this duck and it's raining and it's kind of like, well, it's raining, but it's not an assault against me personally. If someone starts to speak unkindly to me, I'll remember that they've got something going on that has nothing to do with me, which is more often than not the case when someone is unnecessarily rude or critical. Like maybe they just pooped their pants. Yep, that's probably it. And I'm not kidding. That is what the card says. So, yep. So, next card is honoring ideas. When an idea comes to me, I honor it by doing my best to bring it into being. Ideas are like children, and I proudly nurture them, knowing they'll grow and develop and eventually make their way into the world without ever really acknowledging how much time, money, and love I shelled out for them. Hey, whose idea was it to have these ideas anyway? So that's cute. The reason I'm doing these videos is to help other people. So yes, it is my reward when you give a like or you leave a comment, even better, and let me know that you enjoyed it, because that's the only reason I'm not watching Netflix on a day like today and doing this instead, is in the hopes that it makes a difference to someone. So that being said, yes, if you have ideas, nurture them. They will more than likely require time, probably some money, your energy, certainly, some level of sacrifice, meaning like, no, I'm like today, no, I'm not going to watch the Netflix show that I really want to watch. I'm going to actually get dressed and get in front of this camera. And even if I have to take 900 takes, I'm doing this. So nurture your ideas. It's not enough just to have an idea and then expect it will just unfold effortlessly. More often than not, it will take some creative effort on your part. And that's just par for the course. So one more card, playfulness. I think if you've watched any of my videos, especially my Florida stretch video, the Florida stretch video is ridiculous, but so much fun. You know I like to be playful. That's the only reason I play around with the cards and I don't just sit here and go, hello everyone, it's Coffee. Welcome back to the channel. Let's just get right into it without having any fun. It's just not me. So playfulness. I am a playful participant in life, and I always have the option to make something a fun game rather than a heavy burden. Mary Poppins put sugar in the medicine for a reason. That lady knows how to party. And exactly, like I could have just said, forget it, to hell with it. You know, I'm not going to film today a second time. I'm just going to say, oh, well, I'm skipping this week. I could have just put out a quick little video to say, sorry guys, no video this week because I tried and it didn't work, and, you know, WTF, and forget it. But I didn't. I had myself my moment. I swore up and down for a few minutes. Oh. And then I moved on and I said, to hell with it. I'm going to have a good time with this no matter what. If I'm using up my entire day to do this, I want to enjoy it. So I put on a good attitude. I put on my sunnies, as Barrett would call them. If you're watching, Barrett, this is for you. Hello. And I just got on with it. And I just let it be fun. And I didn't let it destroy my day. And that's kind of the way you got to roll through life, or it's going to be miserable and exhausting. So the card that fell on the floor, ooh, is the luck card. I was done, but this card fell on the floor, so it's here, a package sent straight from the heavens, or dark matter for all the atheists. That's been gifted to you, dear friend, and contains a very cartoonish poof of luck. Poof. This magic fairy dust will stick to you for the next few weeks and align with whatever unseen forces need aligning to open the creative doors you've been waiting for. Keep your eyes peeled for opportunities, connections, and winks. It's kind of weird, but okay. Winks from the universe, hinting you're headed in the right direction. So pop on your victory sash or pearls or sunnies. Follow the trail of good omens and don't stop till you get to the after party. Hopefully there'll be a thing full of snacks. Okay. Nah. I don't like those type of fountains where you like put stuff on it. I don't like that. So hopefully there'll be delicious food and entertainment. So once again, we've completed a video together. You and I. Starting to feel closer to you. That being said, good luck and take care till next time. In the next video, I will be... Actually, you tell me. In the next video, would you like me to show you a 32 count dance? Something very beginner friendly that will help you get up from your sitting position while you're writing or whatever and get a little movement. Get a little circulation. Or would you like me to review another book? Or would you like me to tell you my personal story with creativity and art and all of that? So those are your three choices. Please drop a comment below to let me know what you prefer. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, leave a comment, share, wink and blow me a kiss, something. Give me a little peace sign, send a smoke signal, whatever works for you. I'll catch you on the next one. Until next time, take care.